Right, we're back, guys. The stream's back. I'm loving this.
That's a classic.
Would you look at that? Rise of the Vincel. Yeah, it's unreal, isn't it?
He's a dangerous man. He'll choke you out without you saying a word.
Smoothie is the Rat King.
All but a joke. 'Twas harmless banter.
Are you kidding me?
What you made of my man?
Oh! Yay! Now the game's starting up. Now the game begins. Anyway, it looks like we're getting into the second game. Vitality versus Cloud9. Another game that should be close and another game that should be low quality. I've got Cloud9 to take this one, especially like the map Mirage for them. I'm feeling pretty good about it, so. What's my thoughts about Tim the Tapman? Seems like a decent enough dude, but there's a wave of streamers that you have to pay attention to because you can kind of tell they'll just be involved in anything and do anything to grow their stream and just kind of be involved in like whatever's happening and whatever's current. And I definitely think Tim the Tapman fits that bill. You know. All the people, like I say, you can tell all the people that were kind of like just sticking their tongue in Ninja's ass and pretending that like he never did anything wrong ever in his entire streaming career, just so they could kind of get some shine off him. Well, trust me, when Ninja starts falling off in 2019 and 2020, and is actually going to be down to like, you know, he's going to be a top 10 streamer and certainly not #1 anymore. Let's see where those guys are. Let's see where those guys are. They won't still be loving, you know, Ninja. They'll be hanging out with whoever is #1 and saying how great they are, you know. That's just how it is. Yeah, Zelza seems to shine in pistols. Every other round, like, not quite as much, but... Thanks, Q Wrench. Do I think Chris J could replace Nitro and make Liquid better? I wouldn't fuck with what Liquid have got going on, and Nitro's well liked by everyone on that team. And everybody loves Nitro in the NA scene. I think you bring in an anomaly like that, it doesn't necessarily help. Nitro's in good form right now as well, so yeah, I don't think you need to fuck with Team Liquid at all. Yeah, it's just like, listen, it must be exhausting to be a top streamer and only care about those numbers. You can always tell the ones, you know, the ones who cry, like, if they only get, like, 5,000 instead of 10,000. And they go, oh, it's just not worth my while to stream anymore. I might retire. I might do this. I might do, oh, wow. It's like, what do you want? Like, audience and interests, you know, it all fluctuates. Like, what does that say to the 5,000 people that are in your chat? It basically says, fuck you. Like, it's unbelievable. I hate it when streamers do that and tunnel in on the numbers. And that's how you can tell the fakes and the frauds. They'll play any game that's popular. They'll fucking align themselves with anyone who's popular. They'll do anything just to keep the numbers up. And it's like, fuck that. Yeah, exactly. Imagine being in the chat, right? And you've got to listen to a streamer on air go, I'm thinking about turning the stream off because I'm only getting 2,000 viewers today. Well, fuck me, right? You know, like once you assign your self-worth as a creator, a content creator, to audience size, you're fucked. You're doomed. You're never going to create anything worthwhile, man. Like, you're just going to be some populist little fucking, you know, it's pathetic. Like, little fucking loser who cries every time they don't, like, hit record numbers. Like, wah. Ha, Rush. Looking for that one bullet. Thanks for the Twitch Prime, the Pro Mung. Appreciate it. You know, how I keep myself fucking dialed in for streaming, which of course I only do on the side, is that I'm always blown away that anybody would tune in to watch what we do. You know? And sometimes we get 200, and sometimes we get 2,000, you know? It's like, I'm happy whatever. I don't turn the stream off on the 200 days. You know, I know maybe not as many people want to watch me fucking fuck around with RimWorld over a Richard Lewis show or a By the Numbers podcast. You know what I mean? It's like I do different things, and people are into different things, and I respect your right to come and go as you please as a viewer. It's really warped, dude. You know, but I just turn it on. I'd be lost without an audience. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Can I do a Minecraft stream? I mean, maybe Minecraft is the 4,000 sub goal, right? Maybe I do a cosplay Minecraft stream. I've never played Minecraft. Full disclosure, never played Minecraft. Thank you there, Toe Lovers. Great name. Appreciate it. Very kind of you to say I'm the only streamer worth watching. Not true, but I like the lie. I like being lied to, you know? What do I think about Shroud as a streamer? I mean, again, I said it. Like, I don't think he's a big personality. Personally, I prefer the Doc. But what you can say about Shroud is he's consistent. He's great at every game he touches. He's funny. He knows how to not get tilted on stream by stream snipers and stuff like that, and actually integrate that content into his stream. And I think his success is very well deserved indeed. And you know, hey, I just want to also add. You may remember a certain CS pundit saying the best thing for Shroud that he could do for his life would be to get out of competitive CS because it's never going to quite click with Cloud9 for him, and he must be miserable, and he can make more money just streaming. And when he had 1 foot in competitive CS and a very popular stream, it was like, dude, like just fucking take the plunge, man. No one's going to hate on you for doing what's right for you. And I'm glad he did. I'm really glad he did. Thoughts on Dizzy being a huge streamer right now because of Apex? The problem you've got is when a streamer rises to popularity on the basis of one game, it'll never last. Never lasts. Well, okay, that's not technically true. It can last, but there'll be a big adjustment period while you have to try and find what the mojo is, and. You know, like I say, I think you're gonna see Ninja kind of course correct now. You know, you have to be entertaining in your own right. I hate the term variety streamer, like because you play different games. But ultimately, like I think variety streaming is the best way to go. Because your personality is the product, and if people want to consume that product, they'll watch you play whatever. Now, yes, 10,000 people might watch you play in Fortnite, and 5,000 people might watch you play in Counter-Strike, but people will watch you play any game, and that's the important thing. I think a lot of these streamers who rise to prominence on the basis of one game will never have that. Thanks for the $2, dude. Maybe for 2K subs, I can dress up as Dozier and create his top one-liners. I mean, do I have a fucking tracksuit in my closet is the question. I would need one. I'd need like a Russian-colored tracksuit. I mean, shit, man, I could do a Dozier fucking cosplay. I'd be down for that. What do I think of Boaty? I haven't seen that particular fad yet. Is he good? I'll check him out. I like to keep up with all the different streamers and see who's oh, hello. And see who's popular and who isn't. Opinion on the G2 MIBR match? It was fucking god-awful, wasn't it? It was fucking god-awful. Man. Again, there's been some low-quality CS this major, no doubt. So Boaty's a RuneScape guy. I will just add this and make of this what you will. RuneScape has unleashed some of the most dumb, you know, disturbed, shall we say, personalities onto the fucking world. Just throwing that out there. I don't know what it is about that game. Ooh, that's a nice little shot. Cheeky. Yeah, I've seen a void in the puddle. Yeah, I like that. Listen, Jack, I have a soft spot for Groscore because he's made me laugh so much down the years. Not necessarily for his stream. Oh, hey, thanks, Anonymous Gifter, for the 5 subs, man. Real kind of you. Thank you. I hope you're not the same Anonymous Gifter as the other previous 2, because that's too generous. But again, I really appreciate it. But yeah, the gross score is he's ill. It's not even a meme. It's not even a joke. I mean, he said like he's being treated for bipolar, and I don't know. I think there's something kind of fucked up and perverse watching a guy sort of have breakdowns and misbehave. I'm trying to be as delicate as I can about it. So I just sort of avoid what he's doing now because it's kind of, No TIs club? That's interesting. I could do a international stream. I just don't know who I'd get on it. I don't know which players like me enough in the Dota community to swing by who wouldn't be playing. Bulldog will be doing his own stream. He'd be insane to fucking posse up with me. Bulldog's a real big streamer. Hey, thank you for the 5 gifted subs there. Really appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Thorin likes Dota too. Yeah, I mean, me and Thorin could do a no TIs club. I don't know how closely Thorin follows the game. I'm 2,000 hours plus in across 2 accounts, so. But maybe I could maybe that's something I could research, and I mean, Nahaz will be at TI surely. But yeah, I'll look into it. I'll look into that. The no international no TI stream could be a reality. I'm good friends with Henry. Yeah, Malone Dust, jump in, man. I'm good friends with Henry, Raw Dota, and everyone hates him, so that could be good. Yeah, but me and Nahaz disliked each other, and we blocked each other and stuff. Well, he blocked me, and then we ended up doing a show together, and now me and Nahaz are buddies. It's like everything. Yeah, James might swing by. Shit, I gotta get back to him. He wanted to talk to me about his fucking game. Fuck, forgot about that. What with the major being on. Oh, Pyrian Flax hates me. He used to sit in this private, oh, nice flash, Siwu. He used to sit in this, I think it was like an IRC or, no, it was a Skype group. And him and like Hotbid and all these guys were like, Richard Lewis is crazy. Oh, hey, is that you, Dust?
Stop!
Oh,
stop talking about Ninja like that! Get the fuck out of my industry if you don't like Ninja!
How you doing, buddy? You all good?
I'm good, man. I didn't know I could sneak in here like that. Usually it's locked, so...
Yeah, Sam
actually
fucked
do that.
with all the permissions, dude. So.
All of a sudden I was in. I was like, is he going to notice I'm in here?
Yeah.
Anyway, go finish what you're saying.
No, so I was just saying, yeah, the Hotbid and Pyrian Flax and Travis, Scafford, and a few other people from like Team Liquid and that god-awful Esports Express website, they all used to sit in a fucking Skype group, and it was crazy. They were like, oh, Richard Lewis is going to like shoot up a LAN, and they were like spreading all this like insane fucking like garbage about me.
I went to the bathroom and made a cup of coffee. Did this stem from like a DreamHack conversation then? Like how'd you get to that part of the conversation?
Oh, they were asking me about who I would have on for TI if I did like a TI stream.
Oh, if you did a Dota related.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
So So I mean, me and Hotbit have made up about it. We've had a very touchy, back and forth relationship down the years. But I generally have a lot of respect for Hotbit. I think Pyrian Flax is a fucking bum. I don't even see what he's good at. I don't understand his talent. I think he was just one of those motherfuckers who was in the game early, and by virtue of having a British voice, people are just like, oh, look, he must be intelligent. I don't think he says anything worthwhile at all. I don't think he's got any style. It's like, I just think he's a bum. That's my take
I don't
on
pay
him.
that much attention to Dota. Other than the TI, is Pyrian the guy that did the late night bar stuff with Wheat? Is he the kind of the short, balding?
Yeah. He's been
that
on that
Pyrian?
show a week. Yeah, he's like basically like I don't know, like he's not even comic relief, is he? I don't even know what he does on what that he did on that show, but
I'm just trying to make sure it's the right guy. I'm trying
yeah,
to
it is.
I
Yeah,
don't- Some of the personalities I know, but some I don't. Okay. Yeah. What's the guy's name from? Is he? I think when I was watching that, wasn't people in chat were like spamming Carl Pinkerton? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Is that the guy's name from? What's his name? Shows Carl Pinkerton.
Carl Pilkington. That's the one.
Yeah.
Not the Pinkertons. They were the
Not Pinkerton.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
the guys that chased down Al Capone. And...
Yeah. They were the law enforcement agency family. So,
Hello there.
hi.
Oh, look at the time. I gotta go. Great talking to you, Rich. It was really nice being on your show.
Yo, let's noobs.
Go less noobs baguettes.
Yeah.
Except,
I'm handing you a Kappa sign, Dusty. What you gotta do?
are Pepe's allowed? Give him a Pepe sign.
Yeah. In fact, that's what we need now. Alt-right Dust Moret. That's what we need. Give him a Pepe sign.
That seems like a reasonable match for sure.
Man. But yeah, so I'd like to do an alternate TI stream. I mean, what could be interesting would be getting CS guys who know about Dota maybe to
Sure.
commentate on it. That could work. I think there might be some value in that. I'd like
It
to
makes
see
great-
what. Yeah, I'd like to
You're
see what
into
like.
Dota now. It makes great sense.
Yeah, I'd like to see what
You ball
Anders. Like I don't know if Anders has played Dota, but that might be good. I know Freiburg is really into Dota.
I bet you get a ton of people actually.
Guardian too.
Yeah.
Like Guardian's got something insane, like 8,000 hours or something.
Right, and some of their teams actually might be there. You know.
Yeah,
Steel.
Steel plays Dota. Yeah, so that's a project to think about. I think that might be interesting. A Counter-Strike take on TI could definitely work as content, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, and that's where I have to pull out my dictaphone and record. Mental note. Me, Thorin, and Freiburg do an alternate TI stream. Sir Scoots will be on a cruise and will not be able to attend. Click.
Maybe. That's usually what, August, September? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, most fucking likely. I could picture you watching
might-
it from a
yeah.
fucking boat, dude.
I don't go that often, man. But when I go, oof. I'm itching though. It's time to go again.
Yeah, I need a fucking holiday too, dude. I'm trying to figure out when it's gonna fucking be. You know, you know what I want to do? I really need to unplug myself. I think I need the hard reboot. You know, where you just get away from the internet and all, like, actually have a holiday for the brain.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And again, in a weird way, like that's not why I do the cruises, but that ends up happening. Like, yeah, I keep an eye on social media and I tweet pictures and stuff, but really, it's impossible to sit in front of your computers and open all your screens and do what you maybe normally do every day when you're on a cruise ship or any kind of vacation like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
So, and I'm not even really that plugged in, like stress-wise, right? Like this world doesn't stress me anymore. So, but it's great because like like 2-3 days in, you're like, oh, let me check Twitter. Okay, I'll just post this picture. I don't give a fuck about anybody else, right? And you kind of stop paying attention. Like you really do unplug it. Now, if I had a full-time job and emails flowing in, that would be much harder on any vacation. But
Yeah.
on the cruise ship, you can always go, the internet's all fucked up. Didn't get the email. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I've never, like I say, I've never been on a cruise. You know, I think, like I said, I've been talking about this a lot. I think you heard it on the stream the other day. You might even have been in the Discord, but like heading up to the Shining Hotel, going during one of the really quiet times and just, you know, maybe like take a laptop, but like uninstall even all the internet fucking networking stuff off it. So it just literally is a typewriter effectively. And just chill the fuck out, man. Like, do some writing, get away from Twitter. Like, I honestly think, like, it'll be like when you quit sugar, and for 4 days, You're gonna feel like ass, and then when you get past that point, you're gonna feel great.
Yes. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, we all have that reflex to grab our phone whenever there's a free moment, right? Like even when we're hanging out at dinner with friends, like even like, and certainly the generations younger than me are doing it, but even I do it, right? It's like, oh, okay, we're bored, let's pull our phone out, see what's going on in the world, and you just kind of stop doing that, right?
Yeah.
And you get it because the other day you were talking about going to the the Overlook Hotel, which is really the Stanley Hotel. Well, the exterior is the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. Interior is soundstage, but yeah, I get that idea from you, and a guy like you, because that's your creative outlet. Like you write, you do those kind of things, so that would make sense. You want to unplug. I just watched the end of Secret Window with Johnny Depp, a really bad movie about it. Right?
Yeah.
That was on the other night. I was like, oh, not this.
The old
But I'll watch the
classic
end of it.
twist. He was just fucking mental the whole time. Yeah, the old
She was
classic.
buried in the corn the whole time.
Yeah. That's that's a guilty pleasure movie, I think.
Oh, someone was asking about.
It's got Totoro in it, hasn't it?
It does have Totoro in it.
Yeah, and I love Totoro.
Yeah. And well, obviously Johnny Depp, but then the cop. Who's the cop that like says, "I'm gonna get you a bit"? I can't.
Yeah.
Who isn't that? Yeah, interesting. Someone in chat was asking me about the Counter-Strike calendar stuff. So.
Oh yeah, hit me up with that, man, because I've been following this kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, you know. And again, I'm gonna speak as Scoots, not as a like. When it comes to the Player Association, I'm an advisor and a consultant to the board and to the association itself. So everyone here who's listening knows what I do for the association. I'm not paid by them. I don't run it. It's run by a couple lawyer guys in Denmark as well as the player board. I just advise and chime in. So that being said, to put some backstory on all of this, years ago, literally, the year of Cluj-Napoca major was the year was, well, I guess you could go back and look at the actual tournaments, but it was arguably one of our most oversaturated years of Counter-Strike. It's when it was still on the uprise. Every tournament organizer was trying to get in. Gfinity was running a bunch of events. It was just really the most busiest time we've had, right?
Yeah.
The game was peaking, and again, everyone and their mother was trying to get in. And then, so the players went to a few players. It wasn't like they were organized, but Valve is always at every major, and at every major, not so much anymore. But in the first couple majors, they legitimately tried to have player meetings and get everyone organized and have little conversations with them all. They do less and less of that. They'll do it, but it's not their focus anymore. If players want to speak to them, they certainly can. But anyway, point being, at that little meeting or in those conversations with those players at Cluj, they said this year's been a nightmare. We are all burned out. Like, this major is the worst possible timing for us. Like, they all were burnt out at that major, right? And for valid reasons. This was before any team would ever say no to an invite. This was pre-Astralis being good enough to go. We're not going. Everyone went everywhere because you had to, right? Whether your team owner sent you or you needed the prize purse, right? This is also before the days of $20,000 a month salaries, right?
Yeah.
So that feedback was legitimately given pre-me kind of being involved with players giving feedback that the players, we all were like that. We're like, this is too fucking much, right? And so Valve took that feedback and said, all right, players have said that the major at the end is a bad idea. So that's when they started this shift to kind of the different times of the major, if you will, that didn't coincide with the player break. This is also before the players got their shit together internally and said to everyone, we need to figure out some breaks. You might not even need a break to run your tournaments, but we need a goddamn break from going to them. So they weren't organized in the sense of saying, hey, we're going to take this chunk of holiday off and we're going to take this chunk of summer off. So that wasn't part of the equation yet either, right? So there was no windows to worry about. So out of that year comes a lot of consolidation. Gfinity goes away the next year, et cetera. Everything gets kind of cleaned up, right? In the sense of we're still oversaturated, but maybe more online than offline, I would say. So the players' vibe changed. They weren't as fucked up when they rolled into your majors, et cetera, right? So their opinion changed. So literally almost 2 years ago, and even I said this. I mean, even at Cluj, I had a meeting with Valve, and I'm like, this is bad. Like, who puts their goddamn Super Bowl? You know what you're gonna do. You can't do I know you can't do what you want to do, right? Because they were explaining the players are burnt out. We're gonna try to do. I'm like, you can't. Like, you're not solving the problem. You're fixing a symptom that comes out of the problem. We need to fix the oversaturation, and it'll fix your dates, a player break, all that, right? So, but they never they never adjust their player mentality feedback. They think the players still think that they're burnt out, they don't want it at the end. But literally 2 years ago, the conversation shifted with Valve saying no longer the case. You know, TOs are dropping out. Players are getting strong enough with their with their team owners to say we're not going to go to that event. We're not going to go to that event because we're going to focus on that event and that event. And they're so people are kind of cleaning their own schedules, and the schedule itself is being cleaned by the business of open ecosystem, right? If you can't make any money, you're going to stop doing Counter-Strike. Gfinity totally shifted their business model. They don't do any tier 1 Counter-Strike anymore. Others have gone away, etc. Right? So Valve never shifted, right? So they still have this mindset that the players are burnt out, so they don't want it, right? Although I told them almost 2 years ago, then a year, at every meeting I've had with them, because I used to sit with them every major, even before I was a player guy, right? I'd just have a meeting with them because I'd always want to know what I thought. I'd give them what I thought. So at this last major, to fast forward, right? So they before London, they're already well aware that there's no more player burnout at the end of the season. It makes sense to put it at the mid or the end. The players have got their player breaks with the tournament organizers and their owners figured out in the sense of kind of August and obviously kind of around Christmas, New Year's. It's everyone's doing it. Everyone's the calendar is open. Like the TOs aren't putting shit in there because they know that it's meant to be respected. This is before the PA was really anything. It was already happening, right? So before the major before London, which was yours, right?
Yeah.
Was that yours? There's so many now, which is nice.
No,
I missed.
Oh yeah.
Was it Cologne? It might have been Cologne. I missed the Cologne.
No, it was Boston. It went Boston,
okay.
London, right?
So
yeah.
I had a conversation with him there, and ever since the PA thing started, actually, before the PA became something, even during the PA drama, I explained to these guys, this is starting to happen. These players are getting organized. This is what we're doing. This is what the PA is trying to do. This is why the players are mad. Just bringing you up to speed. Don't expect you to help, but this is what we're doing. And then that led to the player association, which led to more conversations with them. But during all these meetings with them, I'd always say, hey, man, like, again, this major kind of stepped on a break. It's weird. They're coming out, like, you all hold the keys to this kingdom. If you control this calendar, you control your majors, you control the break. So if you and the players can figure out break and major, then the tournament organizers will fill around you. But you're doing it backwards. You're jamming a major after a TO bids on it into what's left in the calendar. And what is left in the calendar is the player break because the TOs have already left it blank because it's the player break. So all you're then doing is putting it right after. Those 2-3 weeks where there's nothing really important ever happening because that's not, everyone gets it, right? You roll into a Cologne in the summer, right? So they just, in their mind, is this old feedback and not the very repetitive new feedback that burnout is different. It's a Super Bowl, and one of their, and so we had a long, officially PA to Valve. We did have a very long meeting with them in London, this last major about all sorts of things. It's about a 3-hour meeting. Because they're very they're great guys to talk to. You know these guys, right?
Yeah.
And they'll listen, but the Valve philosophy, at least for Counter-Strike, is very kind of standoffish, intentionally. Not like they're ignorant or unknowing. They choose to not get very much involved in our ecosystem, except around the majors. Right, and they don't want to manage calendar. They don't want to hire. Valve doesn't have community managers, so they wouldn't hire one for Counter-Strike. They don't exist in their ecosystem of their business. There is no CMs in that business for their games. So they're not going to shift what they do. And one of the things, even though and they got it, they understood. Yeah, you're right. Like it has shifted. We understood. Like in London, they understood the feedback. But one of the things they kind of say, and I don't want to throw them under the bus. They are good guys, but to them, it's kind of not the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, and this is where it's more of a logic break, not necessarily they're ignorant. They feel differently about this event. They don't feel like our majors are like Dota's TI. They feel it's meant to be a celebration of Counter-Strike and everyone can participate. So the timing of it to them is not like it is to us, right? Because again, they don't watch Pro CS 12 months a year like we all do. Maybe they do as individuals, but as a business, they don't watch it the same way. So fast forward, again, long story, sorry. But this is big, right?
Know, yeah.
So out of London, we've given all our feedback, and the idea is, I was really excited because what they've also done in a really great way is they've gotten ahead of this whole bid announce process. It used to be you didn't even know who had the next major till the last major.
Yeah, it was a pitch.
it was, yeah, and it was so delayed, right? So now we already know where we're going. We're at the one. We know where the next one is, right? And that's great. So they're getting ahead in the calendar of picking who gets it, right? So that just goes hand in hand with that picking going with the player break. It's not just a player break. It's a caster break. It's an industry break. It's a team owner break. It's a manager break, at least for Counter-Strike. Like Cloud9 doesn't stop, but a few people can breathe over there that don't play Counter-Strike when Counter-Strike is on a break, right? Steve and the guys that travel, Joka, Steve, and those guys, right? They get a little bit of a whew. And it's not an ego thing. Like these guys just want to go take a 2-week vacation, then slowly ramp into practice and roster changes, and then go down the road again, right? They're like rock. They're like rock bands in the sense of you make an album, you got a tour. Not rock bands and superstars, but like they're on the road all the goddamn time. Like the better you get, the more you travel technically, until you then get to the point of Astralis, and you go, yeah, not going, right? But
yeah, we made our money exactly. We don't need.
Yeah, and there's that, but there's a grind to get there, right? So, we were kind of out of London. We then hear a rumor, a month or so. I don't know the exact dates, but I won't even. But we hear a rumor that Starladder got it. We're like, oh shit, that's cool, right? I'm as a guy, I'm like, that's great, Starladder, awesome. Like they haven't had
fans,
one. Yeah, big fans, right? And I'm also obviously immediately thinking that means it's going to be in the CIS region, legendary Counter-Strike regions. So for them to have a major, that's great too, right? I'm not thinking political. I'm not thinking location or venue or any of the craziness of that region, depending on where they go. But just thinking like that's awesome. They deserve it. Every region gets one. Yay! Eventually we'll go to Asia with one. But then we hear the dates, the window of the dates, and we're all like, whoa, I thought we all had a conversation. Like Starladder knows because they're in the same Skype or Google Doc group that has the tournament calendar. They all kind of block out the player break, right? So when they pitched, they had to kind of know they were pitching on top of the break, right? Now Valve, in their defense, might not be access to that calendar. They might not be in the loop that these exact dates are the player break, but the TO in the industry does know that. So when the dates were finalized, we were like, whoa, this is kind of exactly what we said shouldn't happen. Why is this happening? And being a event production and event logistics guy, I know it's too late, right? We can't. There's no sense boycotting. There, other than saying you're disappointed and like we're bummed. We hope we can fix this next time. There's nothing the players can really do. There's nothing the TOs. There's nothing Starladder could even do to try to fix it because I imagine all their vendor contracts are signed. The weekends available at those venues are those weekends available. So like it might be easy on Reddit to say just move it. It's just really not. And I've had this conversation with even players. I'm like it's nowhere near as easy as that sounds. This close.
And they're doing it in another country. It's not like it's in their fucking native Russia, right? Where they can just fucking, maybe you can then make some phone calls and swap some stuff around and cut some corners.
It's just, like if they were doing a lot, like if they had, like they own their own venue. Well, part of it is in their own venue. I imagine they're doing the preliminaries in their studio in Berlin and then going into a stadium type setting, right? So. But again, it just logistically, it's too late to shift a month. I mean, because you got to shift it all. You got to shift all 3 stages, if you will, and then the minors before it. All that whole process needs to then move, and it's just this time it's too late. So it's unfortunate. That the feedback didn't take quick enough, or maybe it was maybe in London it was even maybe in London it was already too late. I don't know. Maybe those dates were already going to happen. Now, a lot of people have said that they'll also never put it on top of their own event, right? They'll never allow a CS major to happen when a Dota major is happening, or and I don't know if it's ever happened during a Dota major, but certainly not an international.
Yeah, for sure.
So that takes out of everyone's calendar. If we can never compete with the international, which obviously makes sense too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that's a bad idea, but that takes a chunk, So the conversation becomes with players and everybody. Okay, the break times make sense. It's roughly the holiday break and then 6 months later, right? So then how can we fix this, right? Is it if it does make sense that it needs to be mid to late season, because maybe it can't always be the Super Bowl and be the very goddamn last thing we do. Like that again, if Valve controlled the calendar, it could be whatever they wanted, right? But they will never take control.
It's really weird because when you look at Dota 2, do you remember when MLG got fucked on this? And remember when he introduced the majors, and it's just like they do control the Dota 2 calendar.
Yes, yeah. Well, because they award who does all their majors,
Yeah.
and their majors lead to their TI, right? So yeah, and unfortunately, I've had too many people tell me in the industry, like, because I always go like, why do they love us? Why do they love them more than us? And it comes down to Eric and Gabe, the two bosses of Valve. It's their favorite game. They love that fucking game. They're addicted to that game, and that's why it gets the extra love, right? It is their gift to their favorite game, and it's unfortunate they don't look at it more like a business and say, look at the 75 million you made on your lovely game on your prize cut of the prize purse last year. You know, if you did that to Counter-Strike, you'd put a few million in your pocket, right? You know, and you know, as you mentioned earlier, like Valve has the culture where you work kind of where you want.
Yeah.
Now the interns and the bullshit employees have to work where they're told, but like when you're a creative or you're a team on one of the game teams, you decide, yeah, I want to work on Dota. Is there room over there? I want to work on CS. So, we've got some great guys, but they have to worry about a game that is so much bigger in Valve's mind than what we do with it. It's unfortunate because again, we live and breathe it on the competitive side, but they don't, and millions of the people that play the game don't, right? So, I wish Gabe loved it. He should. It's unfortunate. But yeah, and so this is unfortunate. But out of this, and again, like silver lining, if you will, out of this, there have been some more back and forth with Valve between the player association. Because again, we tweeted and we also wrote an email. We wrote an email before when we heard the rumor, and it was kind of like, yeah, we understand, but it's too late. But so hopefully out of this can now, because again, like it's been a while to get the PA up and running. Now it's an official body. It is having official conversations with all sorts of stakeholders, all the tournament organizers, team owners, various stakeholders, and Valve included, obviously. So that, I don't know, I don't want to sound too like fucking corporate-y, but that channel of communication I think is now open in a better way actually because of this kind of like.
Yeah, it was interesting to
Valve,
see. Yeah, right? It was interesting to see a lot of people that ordinarily wouldn't necessarily be aligned with player interests definitely came out and were vocal about this. I think some TOs said that they didn't like it, and some high, I think even Carmack, which of course, if you do IEM and you're going to be like pitching for Valve for future majors, it doesn't behoove you to speak out on this at all. Actually, it's better to keep your lips zipped. But yeah, I think a lot of people are very aligned. I mean, we don't want a major that close to a break. We don't want it coming straight out of break. And it's like you say, it's an easy situation. At the start of each year, we're having a major here and a major here, and it's by this guy and it's by that guy, and now everyone else can fucking choose what they want to do based around that and the player breaks. Easy. It's a complete no fucking brainer. I'm amazed that it's like, having to have all these different bodies kind of pitch in and explain how to run an event calendar to one of the biggest and most successful companies in the world.
I mean, and it's like, at a whole separate side note, you've got 8 to 10 tournament organizers all sharing a Google Doc to try in a weird symbiotic way to not fuck with each other and not step on each other's dates. They're competitors. Like, in a weird way, they should kind of be not giving a fuck about each other, right? If ESL wants to own a game, they should not give a shit about when Faceit is doing their fucking league. They should step right on top of it, in a weird way. I mean, they need, for what we're doing, in the sense of, like, for this to live, they all have to kind of play nice, which is kind of cool. Like, or the ecosystem just gets killed. Like, they can't take over. But, like, Valve is forcing them to have to basically run the ecosystem of Valve's games esport without them. And again, I am not for the opposite. I am not for like the Riot Blizzard type control or even the Rainbow Six type control, where they kind of run it tier 1 and it's their show. And you play in their tier 1 or there is no other tier 1, right? Good luck down below. I don't necessarily like that either. So it's a fine line of like wanting Valve to kind of help but not help, right?
Yeah.
Like but again, a simple like license structure along with dates and a calendar where they all like kind of played even nice, but under Valve's tutelage. And again, like if you like, I don't even care if they decide like on these weekends we can have 5 events. I don't give a shit. Like I don't care if they dole it out like that. Like okay, only ESL on this weekend and only Faceit on this weekend. Like I really, because I love the open ecosystem, right? Like, let us fucking, like, let you all fight for who can entertain me the best, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to our Super Bowls, our whatevers you want to call them, they are run by Valve. So, and we do have a designated set of breaks, right, for everybody in the industry, or at least Counter-Strike. So can we work around those two constants that we do have and let this ecosystem then fight around the structure, right? Like, anyone can, like, you and I right now could throw a Counter-Strike tournament tomorrow for $10 million, and Valve wouldn't give a rat's ass what we did. They just don't. Their licensing is like almost non-existent in the sense of Counter-Strike, right? And again, it's kind of cool. Like, I can't speak out of both sides of my mouth too much. I love the open ecosystem idea, but a little bit of help, a little bit of.
I reckon if you were running a $10 million tournament, Valve might stick their head around the corner. I might just. You know, I might believe that.
You'd have to fill out a form and get a generic license from them.
Oh, I think they'd offer you a bit more support, you know, in exchange for perhaps some sort of cut of that, right?
I don't think they do any sort of cut. I don't think they get a piece on any tournament. Now they might dictate stuff. I know, for example, I had heard that obviously, like, when they're dealing with TV properties. So I'm sure there was Valve, Turner Sports. A level of conversations that wouldn't happen at Scoots' $5-10 million tournament, right? No national US TV, those kind of things, right? You know what I mean? So different. Yeah. I imagine they do get involved, but what I'm saying is they wouldn't deny us, right? We'd have to, like, they wouldn't deny us, right? And so that's good and bad. I just want them to care just a little more, and certainly if they really figured out. I don't want to shit on them because what they're doing now. If they start figuring out better ways to monetize our fan base for everybody, for them, for stuff for the fans, for stuff for the team owners, for stuff for the players, and again, this coin, the new thing they're doing this year with the buy-in and the whole new. That is, I think, maybe the bones of a compendium type product that maybe starts getting a rev share. I mean, there is a rev share already built in there because obviously. The players stickers and team stickers, there is rev share in that, but like if they opened up the avenue for us, the fans, to give more money to these majors, we absolutely would. Now, would we give 23 million like the Dota fans do? I don't know. Probably
it's
not.
Interesting though. Maybe
give us a shot. Let's see.
For the first one, there would be a big point of pride. I mean, I remember. You know, I mean, it's like, does the Dota community really need to keep continually beating, the TI prize pool, right? I mean, do we believe that there are more Dota players now, for example, than there were the year previous or the year before that? Maybe not, right? But it's a point of pride, and I think the CS community, if they got an opportunity to do it, I think they'd like to show, hey, we'll put our fucking money where our mouths are for the first one.
Again, I don't know what we'd make, but we would make everybody who gets stickers, owners, ESL owners and players, we'd make them more money than they make now.
Yeah.
Off of this, and Val would make more money, right? And again, smaller team, like literally 5-7 guys or so working on Counter-Strike. You all don't get it. Like, there's 100 plus working on Dota, probably maybe even 200. Ain't that many working on Counter-Strike over there. It really, when we say small team, it is a bunch of guys. Like, it is.
And my understanding is we've had some actually leave.
And like Matt Woods left a couple years ago. He was very integral.
Matt was a regular,
hardcore Valve guy. So, and again, it's just the culture of Valve. Like, it's not. It's like I always say, our game is never going to be like the next bell of the ball. So that if you're a game developer and you wanted to work on an exciting new product, you're not going to probably want to work on Counter-Strike. Go ahead, Dust.
I was just going to ask, do you think the viewer pass is the first step towards doing something like that?
Yeah, and I saw that on Reddit. Like, someone smarter than me started talking about that. Like, maybe this is the first step of a package that is like a compendium. And I hope. I haven't talked to, I haven't asked the Valve guys if I was in, I'm not going to this major, which really fucking sucks. I would ask them. I'm like, hey, are you motherfuckers, like, are you doing it? And Vitaly would just look at me and smile and go, I don't know, maybe. I think it might be, Dust. I don't know.
Just kind of feels that way.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're trying to figure out a more robust viewer buy-in package.
It's like a 50-50 rev split, right, for the viewer pass right now?
I don't know. I
think it's like in the game. I think they said like 50% of the current view pass. What's the compendium? I was just curious, like, what the. Does the compendium all go to, or is it like, what's the split?
I thought it was 70-30, wasn't it, the compendium?
Yeah, and I think that knowledge is public. Because I think, yeah, and I think the 70 is Valve side, right? Because if I recall,
75-25, someone says on the
yeah,
chat.
because the number I was hearing was that like the prize purse was 23 million, but they had raised 100 and something million, so that meant Valve made about 75 million. So that would be a 75-25 split. Like so, Valve, it's a like
75% for Valve, by the way, in case anyone in the chat's
Valve.
confused.
Yeah, for Valve. So on the compendium alone, and I don't know what the resources or what the giveaways are in the sense of costs for Valve on the compendium when you buy it.
Yeah.
But they had 75 million in revenue on that, if that's their cut, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Now they also spend millions and millions of dollars on the event. There's no sponsorship of TI. There's no commercials at TI. There's no breaks. There's no logos. So they make no money back that way either. So, and they spend, millions, and I say millions, probably more than, you can add a couple of zeros to that.
I mean, the monetization on Dota is incredible, though, because if you think about it, right, so you forget TI for just a moment. Now, I mean, obviously, last time I checked the numbers on trades, CS might have gone ahead of it, but they obviously make a cut of every item that's traded on the Steam market, too, and Dota was obviously the big one for that for quite a while. Then on top of that, now you got Dota Plus, right? Which hello, Go TV's just gone down.
I saw a rumor that they might buy Dota Chess. They might buy
too.
Dota Chess or whatever it's called. That Dota.
Yeah. Well, I mean that makes sense, right?
I mean that's what they do. Valve buy. It's kind of cool to see because they.
Yeah,
buy
I
mods,
called that right. Like on day one of the No Majors Club, I'm like, if I was them, I would go out and fucking just get that auto chest.
Counter-Strike game? Fuck.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
Yeah, the Go TV just went down.
It's like
my
Nip
whole CS game is like black background. I can hear the stream open in Counter-Strike, but I can't see it.
Yeah, you.
I can't close it. This is like the Antichrist of Counter-Strike.
That's like a Ronnie restart for you, brother.
Auto chess. Thank you. That's what it's called.
Yeah, auto chess.
They'll buy that. I mean, they bought
sure.
every. I mean, Dota was a mod. Counter-Strike's a mod. Day Defeat. All the games they are all mods. It's awesome.
But yeah, so like this Dota Plus is the shit. I think. I mean, people are paying $5 a month, $4.99 or whatever it is, and you get all these cool like additional add-ons. You get access to unique like in-game skins and stuff. And again, such a no fucking brainer. Why not create like a high level trust factor pugging system? For that, in with the Dota Plus, with unique skins and in-game cosmetics and rankings and stuff you could get.
Talking about in this version of Counter-Strike?
Yeah. You would think they
we're
would.
past that. I think that'll be like the next game of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, you would think eventually they would look at the third-party services and go, boys, we're dropping the ball on our matchmaking products. But again, small team.
Responded on the third-party stuff before, saying that they like think it's good to have in the ecosystem, essentially. Yeah.
Again, that is kind of their mentality, right? They are off. They're hands off, right? They don't. It's weird. Well, yeah, we'll make a matchmaking client. It won't be very good though.
And then having
Maybe
like
Craig Levine paid him off to make a shitty one to make ESCA even more popular. Oh, God.
And then obviously have the access to the battle cups if you pay for this CS:GO Plus feature. So every weekend you get a free tournament you can play in.
Okay.
Like basically just take all the stuff that works in Dota, give it a CS:GO spin, charge people $5 a month for it. Now you got to pay attention to the game. You got to maintain the game because it's a really big fucking revenue generator, and it's like I've said this for years. Like they don't actually get as much as they could out of Counter-Strike. I think when they put skins in the game from TF2, I think they had no idea how big it was going to blow up, and no idea the problems that was going to come with that. And then because their fingers got burnt as a result of that, I almost feel like they're terrified now of like implementing any financially based changes in the game, which I think is sad.
Yeah, and like again, no offense to our little game, Valve themselves have a lot more to worry about, right?
Sure.
In the sense of competition to their platform,
the store now
games, Epic, Storm, Origin, everyone's got a goddamn client, man. And that's not going to change anytime soon. And so the clients are going to lead to exclusive deals to be on the different clients, like the Epic Store is doing. like as much as like I don't know. I just hope they port it to Source 2 and it's not broken again for 2 years, right? When that happens, that's my like all this new shit would be
like
great,
Source?
but yeah, I just when they upgrade us, don't break us again for 2 years, please. You know?
Nah, man, that's a fucking pipe dream if you think that ain't gonna happen, brother.
Yeah,
Do
if
you
and
think
when
they
they
actually
upgrade us.
bring fully bring Source 2, or you think they just release a new game? I'm of the opinion that they're kind of holding off on a lot of these changes until they come out with another game. That's
The problem
my
coming out with
kind of-
another game is the whole skin economy concept. How do you ruin that when you release a new game? How do you make that transition?
I mean, I just don't really know if Valve necessarily like is concerned that much. Like, at the end of the day, you know, as Freakazoid once said, "Fuck your skins." Like, I think they're just gonna. I think at some point they're gonna roll out a different game, and it's gonna have a lot of these features that you guys are talking about in it. I just don't think they like the idea of like implementing it halfway through into this game, especially like the MM idea. I think is
It
really
also
hard
fits
to.
the timeline, right? I mean, the new CS version every 6 to 7 years has kind of been the trajectory.
Yeah, so we're kind of on like the, you know, not we're not close to getting a new Counter Strike. Like we're not gonna get one next year or something like that. But we're also close enough to where some big changes to go, I think, are a little pipe dream esque. I guess. Like I just don't
Yeah.
expect it, rather.
I don't expect it at all, really.
I just wish our
It's
majors
easier.
took a step up, man. Like, I mean, I know we got a bump to the $1 million, and the formats have changed, but that's really driven by tournament organizers running the majors, not Valve themselves. Though they accept it, I guess, like they get approval maybe. But it just feels like we've never really had the major advance that much, other than a bump in prize money
No,
from Valve at least.
no, definitely. I mean, again,
And that
like
seems a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why I like seeing this new offering for the viewer. You know,
I mean, the viewer pass is cool, but in reality, it doesn't really change that much. It's the same system we had.
yeah,
right.
yeah, for sure. Just packaged in a different way.
And then hell, it wasn't even that great. I mean, no one even got anything out of the first stage of the major. Like even if
And
you
if anything,
got
it
all
makes
the
it
goals.
harder.
Yeah.
If anything, it makes it harder to get drops and lowers our viewership, right? Because the people that are just coming for the cobblestone cases, right? Those don't drop anymore. Unless
I mean, right? There's been zero
It's
drops so
all
far,
different,
right?
right?
Like no
It's all
one's gotten
different, right?
anything yet.
Yeah,
That's
But-
kind of crazy to me.
yeah. But that part hasn't started yet, though, right? Is that why there's no drops?
Yeah.
No, it's because you just couldn't physically earn a drop from the challenger stage, no matter if you.
Yeah,
hit
that's
all
what I'm
your
saying.
goals.
Like
That's
they
what
haven't
he's
they haven't
saying,
turned them on
yeah.
yet. The drops aren't out. But what I'm saying is when they are active, they're harder to get now, right? Valve has put up a monetary barrier to people getting cases to sell skins in a weird way, right? Like obviously, or whatever
Yeah,
reason
yeah.
you get
Well,
them. So that I wonder if that will affect kind of our numbers at all.
Yeah, the
right?
drops are only going to kick in
Final stage?
for the final
Yeah,
stage.
championship stage.
Yeah, so apparently, I mean, which by the way, like I know this isn't a popular opinion. I've got a sneaking suspicion we're going to break the record viewership for this major.
I think
It
it's
would
hard to
make
do on
sense.
European time zone, but it's possible.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's not necessarily the quality of major or anything. I think it's actually everything to do with peak Twitch time. If we're talking about just purely viewership from Twitch, like that's where E-League, and that's why you always see the NA majors kind of like reset the record,
Yeah.
because when they're like peak Twitch time is noon PST. That's like at the tail end of when this major is ending. So, and I doubt that this one they're gonna have the finals because that'll be pretty late for them. You know, like they play that late right now because it's the
Yeah,
the
they're jamming
qualifying
lots of
stages,
matches in, yeah.
there's no way that that's when the final's gonna be. The final might be later, you know, than 4 a.m. our time. It might be like 8, 9, but you're not really hitting that peak Twitch time, which is right around noon.
The
PST.
thing is, with the game
Yeah,
being
we'll see.
free, with the game being free to play now, there's inherently more viewers to potentially push it out to, with the startup on the client. I think I know they're doing a different system now with this leveling up the coin. Apparently they're not doing drops at all. I thought there was drops for the final stage, but apparently it's all about the coin that you're leveling up.
Yep.
I think that's going to be an interesting
Oh,
experiment.
yeah. Okay, so even more. So that carrot goes away, right?
Yeah.
To be a
Sure,
I just don't
sure.
think they were.
Although you
liberal
still have to
enough with their
watch
drops.
games to level up the coin, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you only have to watch one per stage
Yeah.
to level up your coin. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, I like the foundational idea of the viewer pass, but I don't think they give you enough. For one, Like, I think you should have been able to earn something at the end of the challenger stage. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it should have been tiered a little bit better and a little bit more liberal about actually giving people stuff. And yeah, you're not even rewarded for exceeding expectations, which I feel like if you either get 5 or nothing, right, on your pick 'em. If you get 8, oh well, cool, you got the 5 at least. Like, I don't know. I just feel like they could do a little bit more with it, but at least it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking forward to see what the viewership for the final is. And again, I mean, you know, hey, another factor that, of course, nobody ever really talks about, but it does make a big difference, is depending on which country or which region the teams in the later stages of the tournament are from.
Sure.
You know, a run from Cloud9 again, that's gonna help viewership. If MIBR get this shit together, that's gonna massively help viewership. You know, so. Team Liquid, if it's a Team Liquid Astralis final, that's got real potential.
Yeah,
that's got real potential.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You know, what that? I wonder. Overwatch will be on that day too, probably, right? Because it'll be a Sunday. No, wait, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, they do Sunday.
Chat told me 10 a.m. PST is when they're doing the final.
Hey,
so
Beastie One Boy,
good chance.
I see a question, and it's funny. There's actually a study that was just released, and it's the most up-to-date scientific study that proves there is no correlation between video games and real-life violence. I've actually got it liked on my Twitter account because I was going to do a video about it. So I'll try and send it to you. I might whisper it at you when there's a lull in the conversation or a break between games or something. But if you want to prove to your parents, and they don't, you know, listen, parents are never going to take anecdotal evidence. It was done by Oxford University, one of the most prestigious seats of academia in the world. It huge sample size. It's a long study. It unequivocally proves that there is no correlation between video games and real life violence. So I'll send you that, and you can just say to your parents, like, boom, read this. I have. Parents hate it when their kids are smarter than them. This will compel them to read it, and there you go. So sorry to.
We're still having to have that debate in 2019.
I know, it's so dumb, isn't it?
Before it was movies, then it was rap music, and now it's
video
games.
I'm old enough to remember, and Scoots will be as well. To remember when Dungeons and Dragons was the big moral panic, and they were trying to push the idea that if you did Dungeons and Dragons, you were a Satanist.
You mean like Harry Potter, like they did?
You mean like Elvis Presley?
Yeah, Presley as well, with those gyrating pelvises. I mean, I did a talk about this. I went to something called the Battle of Ideas in London. I was a guest speaker there, I did a talk on moral panics, and I've still got the speech somewhere. But I was literally talking about, you know, how all of these studies actually show the correlation between, you know, there is no correlation between violence and video games. In fact, every study proves that if you play video games, you're more likely to be socialized. You generally have a higher IQ. You're better at problem solving. Like all the all of the studies back up that video games are actually good for you, not the other way around.
Oh my god.
Flush has done it, dude.
Oh, that was crazy.
Senor Vac is back.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's interesting because there's only been one study that's even shown any correlation between aggression and video games, and that actually showed that you were more likely to be temporarily aggressive for a short period of time after playing video games, and there was a lot of flaws with that study. So that's the best they could get. That's the best they could do. So I think it's patently absurd to try and make the link between video games and real life violence, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just their investigations lead them down this false logic. Tragedy happens involving young adult. They go to young adult's house, open his computer, find all the stuff that every young adult does. Oh, these things are violent, so therefore that's why young adult did this. Go back 40 years, go to young adult's house. Oh, look, he's got Led Zeppelin records. Oh, he must be. Oh, look at Black Sabbath, devil worshiper. That must have caused him. You know, it's just like, couldn't be bad parenting, couldn't be bad environment, couldn't be just.
I mean, more importantly,
twisted brain.
More importantly, what it can never be is all the ways we fuck ourselves in society by creating systems that fundamentally satisfy nobody and proactively make us all mentally unhealthy. It couldn't be that. It couldn't be having to work fucking cripplingly long hours for little money with a boss who treats you like shit. It couldn't be that, right? You know, it couldn't be all these little systems we put in place for ourselves. Because if we
The
start
rat race of our society.
yeah, because if we start
The
talking
wheel?
about that, then we've got a fucking real problem, haven't we? Let's blame the music. Let's blame the video games. You know? Hey, it couldn't be that, as you rightly said, not everybody's fit to be a fucking parent and raise a child. We couldn't possibly say that. It's a fundamental right. You have the goddamn right to have a kid. You couldn't say otherwise. That's goddamn inhuman. But yeah, man, it's fucking so stupid. Blame the books, blame the music, blame the games, blame the movies. Fuck it, man. We're a species of fools. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
So I want to wrap
hope-
around on something, ask you something. Would
Yeah,
you you remember like that Reddit post by like the Valve employee that left? Like where it was like a huge just like copy paste of just like massive text where they dropped on the Reddit, I think. Where he was talking about like the philosophy of Valve.
Yeah.
Do you think that holds true or like value essentially? Kind of like, you know, when you talk about how large the teams are, when you can work wherever you want, do you think since Gaben essentially, you know, loves Dota 2, everybody that has the choice of where they can work at the end of the day, if you want to get noticed, if you want to move up, you just kind of work on Dota 2.
I think it's less about like wanting to impress the boss. I think it's just more of their core, and it's not like
Well,
everyone.
like when you hire, right? You like hire like-minded people. So if somebody,
Yeah.
you know,
But I think it depends on what you. And again, like their philosophy does not like if I get hired to be Q&A or I get hired to be a receptionist or there's tons of jobs at Valve where they tell you
Yeah,
what you're
of course.
fucking doing, right? We're talking about like the creative game dev job titles that get to move around. So yeah, I don't. Again, I think it's just an. I get your point, like-minded. I don't think anyone's working on Dota because they want to get next to Gabe, right? I don't think the company culture's like that.
Not necessarily that, but you get what I'm saying. Like it's just like at the end of the day, I think when you work on anything, you know, you want a bit more recognition for what you do, probably, or like you want to see like the fruits of your labor. Where I think if you like work in CS, that doesn't happen as much.
And you also might want to be where the big shiny star is, right? So yeah, I might not love Dota as my most favorite game, but if I got my choice of 2 games at Valve to work on, am I gonna go with this crazy game called Dota that fucking has this thing, right? I might do that, right? If I'm, so I like their own hype of Dota might be drawing people to Dota, is your point, right? Whether it's to get the game or just and then therefore hurting technically their other properties, I guess.
It's an environment where you can work on anything, but at the same time, like if you have goals like anybody where you want recognition just like a little bit, or you want to see, like I said, the fruits of your labor, I think, you kind of end up being drawn towards Dota 2.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably it. And I think like for the majority of the Counter-Strike guys that I've met over the years, which it's roughly been always the same guys except for a few new guys here and there that come, they're like longtime Valvers, right? So maybe they're not chasing that either, and that's why they like this game. They're happy running, and there's something to be said. You can work on a team with, and I'm going to make numbers up because I don't know if there's 200 people working on Dota. I know it's over 100 plus, like a good chunk of their resources work on Dota. But there's also something to be said, like if 5, 6, 8, 10 guys own a game, that's kind of a cool feeling too, right? Versus a team of 150, 200 that own a game, right? So there's something to be said for a developer wanting to be a bigger part of a smaller game, right? Maybe, and maybe that's why Ito and Battalion, those guys love Counter-Strike, because it's theirs, right? They got only a few guys to talk to, less politics, less bullshit. I've never had those kind of conversations with those guys. Hey, why do you like the game? Why did you pick this game?
I always find that I'd find that so interesting. Just
I would too.
About that kind of shit.
Like why CS for you, right?
Because I think in a lot of ways, then you can figure out their thought process with everything. Like as soon as you find out like why they're into CS and why they're working on Counter-Strike, you can start to get an idea of why the changes I think are being made or like why they focus on what they do.
Yeah, and you also like they are two completely different games, right? And I don't mean I don't mean
entirely.
genre wise. I mean like continuing wise. Like Counter Strike, we don't need new guns every month. We don't buy fancy skins in the sense of like like cosmetics. Yes, we have a skin system and all that, but like we're driven by winning and playing and working on our strategies, like and matchmaking or whatever. And the game. Again, this is what makes this game so fucking great. It doesn't get stale if you like the gameplay of Counter-Strike. Whereas Dota, you want new heroes to come in. They are constantly like patches in Dota dramatically change that game every goddamn time. That would be like if they dropped a CS patch on us and went, hey, the AUG is now going to be $200 and ops are free. Like they do dramatic fucking shit.
That was called dynamic weapon pricing in Source.
Yeah, we blame you fuckers for that.
Richard,
Yeah.
It's on sale.
But you know what I mean? So that game, it's my same thing with Overwatch's problem is games like that need a continual set of new like we're bitching about not having operations and all those things that do hurt our growth, right? We need that cool fun shit for people to do that don't want to just do matchmaking. But those games will die without constant refreshing, right? And that's why Overwatch is going to be in trouble, right? Like that game needs 100 fucking heroes and picks and bans and all that kind of shit, and that ain't ever going to happen, right? So that also requires a bigger team, right? To continually crank out content, to continually doing patches. Whereas Counter-Strike is kind of, I don't want to say it's in maintenance mode, but it's kind of in maintenance mode, right? Like, at least right now, or at least it feels like it is.